Hello YouTube, this is CFV Price. It's been a very long time since I've put out a video. I've just been away, not really had the chance, and there's not really been that much to film anyway because a few of my decks, like the ones that have been completed for a while, haven't really changed. Things like Arc Force I'm still building on, but I think tonight that should be finished. So I'll do a deck profile of that soon. But other than that, a few things just need adding to the decks, but I thought I'll just let you know that we're all still alive here, and I'll do my Exorcist Narukami deck profile. It's I see none of these on YouTube, and yet the deck itself is an interesting, fun, and fairly powerful one. The starter is Coco. He moves to the rearguard when ridden, and then, when something rides him. And then he has an act skill of Soul Blast 1, and then something loses its continuous skill. That's the Exorcist trait. A lot of people don't run him. They'll use other things for his, to lose continuous skills, but I don't see the harm in running him. He's a 3k booster, but there's ways around that to make it a good column, but he's fine. For heal, for Malevolent Djinn, you can put him in Soul, it gives something 3k. 1 Spark Edge Draco Kid. 3 Exorcist Mage Linlin. Stands aren't the best trigger in Narukami, kind of. In some builds they work, but in a lot of them they don't. In this it does work okay, and that's why I only run 3, but her skill is, when she's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, something loses its continuous skill, and that's really why I run her. But there were times where stands were really helpful in a few games I've played. And then 4 draw. Grade 1s, we've got Standard, 4 Perfect Guard, all BT06 because I'm hipster and retro. 2 Phages on 1 Wyvern. When you boost the Vanguard and your opponent has 3 or more damage, that's 10k booster. 2 a Desert Gunner Ryan. The choice was between 2 of him or the 9k Exorcist booster, but I found him to be more consistent, but I'm still kind of trying. But at the moment, this is the one that goes into my competitive deck. 2, 3 Exorcist Mage Roro. Same skill as Linlin, but 7k boost is really nice. And then choose a continuous skill, and it's gone for the turn. And then 4 Red River Dragoon, 8k booster. For grade 2s, I run 2 Death Scythe. I'm thinking of putting it up to 3, but to be honest, I draw this quite a bit, and the deck does retire. It's not the heaviest of retirement decks, but when it retires quite well. This combined with other cards in the deck can do what Vermilion does, but better, I find. So I run 2 of him. 3 Garuda, because sometimes things can go wrong and you'll end up counterblasting more than you should, so he's just nice to unflip damage. And then 4 Exorcist, Thunder Spear wielding Exorcist Knight. He's your restraint card of Narukami. So he has restraint, he's 10k. When he attacks, he gains +2, and you counter +1 to have him lose restraint, but then because restraint is a continuous skill, obviously you use Roro, the starting Vanguard skill, to get rid of that, so you don't end up counterblasting. So you have a high-powered attack for no cost, and then this with this in front of Coco hits 15, so it kind of puts that thing to use for rearguard hitting. And then 2 Thunderstorm Dragoon, 10k vanilla. For grade 3s, I run 3 Djinn of the Lightning Flash. He's actually really, really good now. I never valued him that much before. I never used him in decks, apart from when I first ran Narukami. He can't attack rearguard at all. On the Vanguard, he gains +4 when he attacks. On the rearguard, he gains +2 when he attacks. It's a really nice skill. With set 9 cross rides left, right, and centre. I've tested this against Luminal Dragon, and I actually end up riding him out of choice because that +4k can force so much guard out of the hand. and on rearguard he's a very, very nice rearguard, so I run him. And then the key card of the deck for Sealed Demon Dragon Dungaree, and then 1 SP. He is definitely the cheaper Narukami Vanguard. He's a very interesting card because he's kind of like... Well, it's quite hard to explain because his skill is when he's ridden, you bind the top 2 cards of your deck. And then his skill, Limit Break 4, counter +1, and then you choose one of the bound cards and you put it to the bottom of the deck. And you can retire a front row rear guard. And you can only do that once per turn. But if you don't have any bound cards, he loses 2k permanently, even in your opponent's turn. And because I used to think, oh yeah, you can like ride 1 and then 2 will be bound, and then ride another, so that's 4 bound altogether, and then you can use all of them. No, like it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You can only use the cards bound by its own skill. In set 12, that becomes really quite good with new starters and the Dungaree cross ride and stuff, but for now you just sort of use it once, re-ride, use it once, re-ride. Or then obviously if you want to go for a final push, get rid of an interceptor and try and go for final turn, you can just sort of use one of the Exorcists to get the plus 2k back. But it's a nice card. I used to run, like, when I used to run Vermilion, I'd run like 3 Dungaree, 3 Vermilion, 2 Vasuki, and that used to work quite nicely. But what I said before about having the same sort of things as Vermilion, the thing I don't like about Vermilion is that, I don't know, it's I'd rather have these for Counterblast 3 and attacking the front row, they can still guard, whereas I can call Dragonic Death Scythe, Counterblast 2, retire front row, and then use his Limit Break, retire the other front row. And that's Counterblast 3 for exactly the same as Vermilion, but it's definite. And also, like, you could do him to retire 1 front row, and then use him to retire the unit behind it. So essentially it does Vermilion, but for definite. But yeah, that's my Dungaree build. If there's any like Narukami experts out there who run this, I'd very much like to hear opinions. It's still in testing, but it kind of does quite nicely. I'm yet to use it at like a tournament or anything, but I've used it against like Spike Brothers, I've used it against Illuminal Dragon, and I think I've used it against Metatron. But no, it's going quite well. So any comments, please feel free to put, and subscribe.